The signal they tried to hide the night. It started. The sky had no clouds, and the air was still, as if the world was holding its breath. I was finishing some work when every device in my apartment flickered at the same time. Not a normal power dip. More like something sweeping through the grid with purpose. The lights dimmed, then returned with a strange, low hum vibrating through the walls. I grabbed my phone and watched the screen distort with wavy lines until an unfamiliar government seal flashed for a split second before the phone shut off completely. Then the radio in my living room turned on by itself. Not with music or news. With a sharp burst of static followed by a pulsing tone, repeating the same pattern over and over. 3 short bursts, then one long. I went closer, and the air around the radio felt cold, like the heat had been pulled away from a room. The pulsing tone changed into a voice that sounded metallic and broken, like someone speaking from inside a damaged machine. It said a number sequence. Coordinates. Then it said my name. I froze because no government broadcast should know who I am. The message repeated once, then the radio went dead, leaving the low hum echoing through the building like some kind of buried engine warming up. I should have stayed home, but curiosity pulled at me harder than fear. I wrote down the coordinates and drove out of the city into the dark desert where the roads vanished under the sand and cell signals died miles before the turnoff. The coordinates led to a restricted military zone. The fences were bent outwards, as if something massive had forced its way through. Pieces of metal were scattered across the ground like shrapnel, but none showed burn marks or impact dents. More like they had dissolved from the inside. The hum grew louder as I stepped past the fence. The air felt heavy. My skin tingled like static was crawling under it. A bunker entrance sat half buried under sand dunes with the hatch wide open. A faint blue light glowed from deep inside. I climbed down the metal ladder and found a long corridor with marks on the walls, long carved lines that looked like claw scratches, but the spacing was too precise, too symmetrical. The ground vibrated with the hum. A deeper pulse followed every few seconds, like a heartbeat coming from somewhere underground. Screens along the hallway flickered on as I walked past them, showing fragments of surveillance footage. Soldiers running. Lights failing. Shadows shifting in ways shadows are not supposed to move. One clip showed a metallic object in a containment chamber, a smooth oval shape hovering without any visible support. Then the footage cut to black. I reached a blast door that had been forced open from the inside. On the floor beside it lay a soldier, his eyes wide as skin, pale, his mouth frozen mid-scream. There were no wounds on his body, no blood. Just a thin layer of ash covering his uniform, as if something had pulled the life out of him without touching him. Inside the chamber beyond the blast door, I saw it. The source of the hum. A large ship half embedded in the concrete floor. Smooth silver surface. No seams, no panels, no human architecture. It radiated a faint blue glow, and symbols kept shifting across its hull, like liquid metal forming messages I could not read. Then the hum changed pitch. Higher, sharper. A static crackle filled the chamber. The ship reacted to my presence. A panel slid open, and a wave of cold air brushed across my face. It felt alive. It felt aware. And then a distorted voice spoke inside my mind. Not out loud. Inside. It told me this signal was not meant for the government. Not meant for the military. It was meant for me. I backed away, but the chamber door slammed shut behind me with a heavy metallic thud. The voice continued telling me that the ship had been drifting for centuries, trapped between dimensions, after something hunted it across the void. It said the military found the signal first and brought the ship here, hoping to reverse engineer it. But when they powered up the systems, they accidentally opened a breach, and something stepped through with them. The mimic. The air turned thick. The lights flickered. A shape emerged from the corner of the chamber. At first it looked like a soldier, but its movements were wrong. Jerky. Delayed. Like something was remembering how a human should walk. Its face shifted slightly, as if a mask beneath the skin was adjusting. Its eyes looked empty, no reflection, no emotion. The thing twitched its head toward me, and began walking slowly, dragging one foot across the floor with a soft grinding scrape. The voice in my mind warned me that the mimic had learned enough human behavior to pass among the soldiers until it replaced most of them. It fed on electrical signals, on nervous systems, on energy from the ship itself. It wanted the ship, or me, or both. I did not have time to ask which. The mimic lunged with unnatural speed, but the ship reacted faster. A pulse of blue light shot across the chamber, freezing the creature mid-movement, as if time stopped only for it. The voice urged me to enter the ship if I wanted to survive. I should have run, but the chamber door was sealed, and the mimic began to move again, its limbs stretching longer, its jaw unhinging slightly like something inside needed more space. I stepped inside the ship. The moment my foot touched the surface, the hum stopped. Silence filled the chamber. Then a soft chime echoed through the vessel, like a welcome tone. Light surrounded me, and the interior twisted, shifting into a long tunnel of glowing metal. The voice grew clearer. It said the government never understood the signal. They thought it was an invitation. It was a warning. The ship came here to escape the creature that now walked freely in this bunker. The tunnel ended in a circular room with a single platform rising from the floor. The voice told me I had been chosen because my mind was compatible. Whatever that meant. It said I could help seal the breach or open it fully. It said the mimic had infected more than soldiers. It had infected communication systems, satellites, power lines, anything that carried a signal. It was spreading. Suddenly the ship shook violently. A metallic shriek echoed from outside. The mimic had found its way onto the hull. The lights dimmed as something clawed at the metal surface from all directions. The voice whispered that the creature had learned enough to break through soon. It asked me if I wanted to help save my world or abandon it. The floor opened beneath me, and the platform rose higher like an elevator. Light wrapped around my arms like tendrils of energy, forming patterns across my skin. The ship began powering up. The chamber outside filled with violent static, like reality tearing. The mimic slammed against the hull again, and again, its shape changing, its limbs splitting into jagged points. The voice asked one final question. A question that chilled me deeper than anything else. It asked if I was willing to become something more than human, to fight something that was no longer bound by physical form. As the ship lifted off the chamber floor and the entire bunker shook apart, I realized I had no idea what answer I had given, or if I had given any answer at all. Because when the light faded and the noise stopped, I was no longer in the bunker or the ship or anywhere familiar. I was standing back in the desert under a silent sky. No bunker, no fences, no ship, no mimic, just sand, wind, and a low hum inside my head growing louder every second. Now I keep wondering something that terrifies me more than the creature ever did. Did I escape the ship, or did the ship escape inside me?